So today we want to talk about brassica mistakes. These are the mistakes that we see year in, year out, whether it's on social media or talking with hundreds of people, hundreds of customers. We do hundreds of food plot plans every year. And these are the most common mistakes we see people make planting brassicas, and we want you to avoid those. So let's talk about the brassica mistakes we see that are the most common here at Northwoods. Number one, planting too deep. I see a lot of things on social media, people using planting methods, disking seed in, dragging seed in with those harrow drags, bed springs. We talked about it the other week about food plot mistakes. Our rule of thought is the size of the seed is the depth of the seed. And with brassicas, our favorite planting method with brassicas is tilling under some red clover, some green manure, and then we'll pack it with a lawn roller. I really like the consistency of a lawn roller. There's 100% seed contact, soil contact at all times with the lawn roller, and it makes a great seed bed for these little tiny seeds. So once we roll the plot, we put our broadcast our seed, and then we roll the plot again, and we're done. Okay, again, that little tiny seed that's the size of a head on a pin, that's as deep as it needs to be buried. So don't plant these too deep. If you're drilling them, drill them at about 1/8 of an inch to maybe quarter at the at the deepest, kind of like switchgrass, 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch deep, because it's got that furrow that the root can follow, and the seed can pop out of that furrow. So drilling, you can go a little bit deeper, but again, please don't plant these brassicas very deep. They only need to be pressed into the ground. Number two, too much seed, overseeding, and then we'll talk about the seeding rate. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. I am guilty. I still do it. I've gotten pretty good at it. We've got a great system for doing brassicas down, but overseeding. We like 6 pounds per acre with our Sweet Feast. When we started selling Sweet Feast, when we first started Northwoods, Sweet Feast was one of the very first products that we worked on, and we were selling it at 7 pounds an acre, and I just thought that that was too much. The plants were getting the full potential, so we backed that rate down a little bit every year. Now we're at 3-pound bags. A half-acre bag is 3 pounds. We recommend 6 pounds per acre. Now I see a lot of people are saying, oh, 7 pounds, 8 pounds, 10 pounds. 10 pounds is way too much. 8 pounds is way too much per acre. 7 pounds is, you're getting pretty heavy on the seeding rate, And think about something. If I thought 8 pounds an acre was so good, we sell food plot seed by the pound. We sell it in a 3-pound bag. If we wanted you to plant 8 pounds an acre and sell a 4-pound bag, we could actually make more money per bag, but that's not the case. We want you to have great success with these brassicas. I've done this a long time, folks. I've messed with brassicas a long time. 6 pounds per acre with our Sweet Feast, and most brassica plantings, 6 pounds per acre is what you're looking for. So how do we keep from overseeding it? Now we've got a great video, we'll try to link it in here, that we did, I believe it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where we talked about how to seed brassicas. You can also look at the video we did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, talking about when we were talking about frost seeding. Okay, we're going to talk about the Earthway bag seeder, and we're actually going to try a solo seeder this year just so we can see what the numbers are. But let's say this is a half acre, okay, and we're going to plant 1 3-pound bag of our Sweet Feast brassica. When I use the Earthway, I believe it's at 1.5, 1.4 on the opening. I'm going to do 1.5 pounds of that 3-pound bag, half that bag. I'm going to go this way, okay, until it's all gone. Just keep going back and forth this way until that 1.5 pounds is gone. Now I'm going to take the other 1.5 pounds in that 3-pound bag and go this way. And just keep going back and forth, okay? Now whether it's brassicas or clovers or switchgrass, I have found doing this a long time, this is the best results that you can get for seeding those little tiny seeds. Do half of what you need and go one way on a low setting, half of what you need and go the other way on a low setting. That's a great way to get what you need and not overseed and have stunted, overseeded, 8, 10, 12 pounds an acre brassicas that are only that big in a little tiny golf ball for a tuber. We don't want that. Number 3, coated seed. We're starting to see this a lot. I talked about this price sheet that we had from one of the big seed companies in the country that's trying to get some business from us, and looking at it, all the coated seed in there is cheaper than the other seed. You could have this particular seed that's $6 a pound, or this coated seed is $4 a pound. Okay, I see that a lot with clovers. But now I'm starting to see it with brassicas, coated brassica seed. There is absolutely no need for coated brassica seed. I don't care what any pro staffer or expert or whatever says. I've been doing this for a long time and we've never had coated brassica seed. Where I'm standing right now used to be a food plot 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I remember we did a brassica planting right here. We planted it in the morning because rain was coming. It rained all day Saturday, and then it got hot Saturday afternoon. It got hot Sunday, and by Sunday night, I started to see the leaves on the brassicas popping. So that's, what, less than 48 hours. And it wasn't coated seed. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about you have to have coated seed for better germination. Folks, the only thing that you need to get your food plot seed going, especially brassicas, is rain. No blue, yellow, pink, purple, unicorn fairy dust is coating is going to get your brassica seeds going. Okay, it's moisture. I've done this too long. If I thought that the coated seed ridiculousness is better, we would be selling coated seed. But it's you don't need that, folks. Okay, and again, it's these seed companies that are just, I'm looking at the book right now. The coated seed are cheaper, but yet they're still charging outrageous prices. Okay, those are just the facts. You do not need coated brassica seed. I don't care what any hunting celebrity or YouTube star or pro staff tells you. You do not need coated brassica seed. All right, number 4. I've talked about this one multiple times, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's an absolute money grab for these big buck seed companies, and that's sugar beets. I live in Michigan. We're one of the biggest sugar beet growers in the country. The sugar beet farmers plant their sugar beets. This year, the way the weather's been, it might be late April, early May. That's when the time frame for sugar beets is early May. Okay, they're a big seed. They need to be buried a ½ inch deep. And they're a long growing seed. They hate competition. They don't want to be crowded. But these seed companies take these sugar beets and they put them in a brassica blend that is supposed to be planted here in Upper Michigan. I start the last couple days of July, early August. And then as you work your way down the country, Illinois, Kentucky, North Carolina, Georgia, you're backing that up to all the way almost to the end of August. Why would you plant something in August that is supposed to be planted in May? Why would you do that? Why are you putting that, big buck seed companies? Why are you putting that in those blends for these people to buy? That'd be like if I took our cereal grain blend, our fall forage blend, and went and put corn in it and said, hey, look at this. We now have corn in our fall forage blend and jack the price up $70. That's what they're doing to you folks. We took it last year, we did it again. We took a handful of our sugar beets that are supposed to be grown in May. We put them in the ground in August when we planted some of our fall food plots, and they got about that tall with a golf ball sized sugar beet. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. They take up space. When you plant them in the fall, they take up space, they take up money, they take up nutrients that could be going to something better like a turnip or a radish. Now, we sell sugar beets here all by themselves, and we tell people you want to plant these in May. Absolute latest is June. They're a great planting if you can have the space and you can do the work to get them to grow. Massive, huge bulbs, the beets, great big tops, tons of forage for deer, but they don't belong in a brassica blend. It's a money grab, folks. You're being ripped off by these companies. And I can name 4 or 5 of them right now. Heck, there's products out there with the sugar beet name in them. Okay? And the funny thing is, and I've done this on social media many times. You see these pro staffers that are pushing these blends for these big buck seed companies. Plant this brassica sugar beet combo. And I asked them, and I say, okay, that's not going to amount to anything. Why do you guys recommend that? Nobody can answer. Because either A, they don't know what they're talking about, or B, they know exactly what they're talking about, but they don't want people to know that the big buck seed companies are ripping these people off with sugar beets and brassicas. Folks, you don't plant corn in August. You don't plant sugar beets in August. That's just a fact. So one of the last things I want to talk about, and it's not really a mistake, it's just a concern that comes up. I see a lot on social media. Deer don't eat brassicas. They don't like them. I've tried them for 2 years. They're just not eating them. One of the things we like to do is that strip system. So there's brassicas planted right next to another food source. But if you're in an area where the deer don't seem to like the brassicas right away, especially egg country, you might add some soybeans to it. I like to add our winter forage peas up here just because we have colder climates, but I also like the nitrogen production of the winter forage pea to help with that brassica. That's what we'll do. We'll add a little bit of sweetener. This year we're going to mess around a little bit with maybe 5-6 pounds an acre of buckwheat just to see what that phosphorus mining of the buckwheat does to the brassicas. But I don't add a whole lot to it other than maybe 50 pounds an acre of peas. If you've got, like I said, an ag area where you think you want beans, you might go 50 to 60, 70 pounds of beans. But you don't want to get it so thick that it's choking out the brassicas. So you can try a sweetener. We like peas or beans, or we're going to try a little bit of buckwheat this year here in Upper Michigan. But if they don't eat them, by all means, try a sweetener. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about, we get asked a lot about overseeding brassicas into corn, into beans. I think it's a great addition. You've got kind of a two-tiered food plot there. But one of the tricks we've talked about with a lot of people is if you can set your rows of your beans. Now, if you're broadcasting beans, or there's some people that broadcast corn with success, you might need to knock that rate down a little bit if part of your strategy is to add brassicas to it because you're going to need some space. But one of the things I like to do, if it's possible with your hunting strategy, is run the beans and the corn rows north and south. So as that sun in the south is going through, every row is getting some sunlight. So if you're going to overseed beans, if you're going to overseed corn with brassicas, it's part of your hunting strategy. If possible, run those rows north and south, and that way you can catch a lot more sun. You're going to get a little bit better growth because you think about how dark it is inside of a 2 or 3 acre cornfield. Those center rows, it doesn't get a lot of sun. That might stunt your brassicas. If you have to go, if your rows are running east and west, and instead we might just do cereal rye or something like that. But again, if you can run your rows north and south, you're going to create a great environment for overseeding brassicas. Well, hopefully that helps you avoid brassica mistakes planting here this fall in 2024. It's not too far off. I mean, I'm looking outside and I see snow, but the next thing you know, we'll be doing our fall food plots. So if you've got something that you've done, you've made a mistake, and it's not on here, by all means, let's hear about it in the comments below. We're here to educate people. We're all here to learn. If you've got questions, if there's something you've done and you want to learn about, you can get a hold of us, text message, call, private message. There's actually a new part of our website. You can text a question right into our website and it'll get to me right away. You can ask in the comments below, but hopefully this helps you avoid any mistakes. There's a lot of brassica offerings in the food plot seed industry right now. But I'll tell you what, folks, I've yet to see or look at anything better than our Sweet Feast Brassica blend. One of the things we do here is strive to do the absolute best we can, best prices, best seed selection, and we've worked on that Sweet Feast blend for years. It's, I think, one of our very first products that we developed here at Northwoods, and I think we've got it perfect with the maturity dates and the different turnips, the amount of forage brassica, forage kale. Yes, the deer actually do eat that. They really like that. And I don't think there's a better blend out there, especially for the price. And then for our folks down south, our friends down south, and then anybody that has a failure that needs to replant brassica quickly, we've got a new product called Southern States Short Season Brassica. It was our second year last year with it, and all the results that we saw were outstanding. So we've got 2 great brassica choices at great prices. Northwoodswhitetails.com. Check it out. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you in a few days.